Jeff, the host of the Gridiron.
All right. Welcome to the Gridiron, baby. If you can give this video a thumbs up or maybe share this video, that would be absolutely freaking phenomenal. If you subscribe to my channel, thank you. Now, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way next time I go live or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. It's totally free of charge. What do you got to lose? But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. If you want to help support my channel out, description box below, very top link takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. Each one has their own little perks to them. So once again, if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. And I thank you in advance. Thank you. And then finally, just underneath that somewhere in that description box is another link. Takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, The Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. We have over 10,400 members in the group, and it is doing simply marvelous, might I add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing, I got internet access. I am putting stuff in this group darn near 365. It's called the New York Giants, The Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You will not be dissatisfied. I promise. Well, all right, yeah, well, here we are again. You know, it's the roller coaster season continues. It's just unbelievable. What's it going to be? You know, what's going to happen on, you know, this weekend here? It just can only wait. I mean, you know, they're just like certain teams, like whatever, the past whatever. You know what I mean? Like the Giants, the Browns, the Jets. I mean, just some teams are just straight trash. It's like, what's going to happen this weekend? It's just, you know, I guess it could be. I guess we could be like the Jets. I mean, you know, the one nice thing, and I feel bad. I you know, I don't like talking bad. I mean, I'll pop this up here about any or whatever, but you know, talking about Glenn, the coach of the Jets. And I just say, well, you know, I don't know if they can him after one season, but just say they go like 1-16 or something, which they quite possibly might. I mean, they don't have a quarterback now. You know, they're gonna have they might possibly have the pick of the litter. You know, I'm not sure exactly who's the cream of the crop as far as this quarterback class going up, but they might wait, maybe. Oh, he's 1-16, but they had Justin Fields as the quarterback. So let's give him another season. Let's see if he can. I mean, so maybe, but. Just wonder if they go like 2-15, 1-16 or something like that. Are they going to can him? You know, but you know, if they can him, you know, somebody's trash might be somebody else's treasure, right? I mean, so we get rid of Bowen, maybe we get Glenn, huh? It would be nice to get it. I mean, he did very good in Detroit. So anyway, putting the cart before the horse. So don't want to do that, but I've seen this. And yeah, I can kind of, you know, it seems like it, you know, Russell Wilson. I'm not saying, you know, he's still got it, or you know, he can throw the deep ball, and you know, or whatever. But it just seems like, you know, he's just trying to go, you know, go through the time, right? He's putting his time in. You know, I don't know if he's on, he won't be on the Giants next season. What if he finds his way on another team in the next season? Right? Possibly, right? But it just seems like he's just trying to, you know, do his best, be a team player and all that stuff and everything, and you know, not causing any waves, shall we say? And then of course you got, you know, some. I never liked Payton. I mean, very good coach. Don't get me wrong; he's very good for the National Football League. We need good coaches. I mean, right? It's, you know, that's like 2 of the things we just don't have enough of, right? One is good quarterback play, right? And you know, some of some of the coaches we just don't know, but don't have enough, right? But Payton's a good coach, very good coach. But I never really liked him. I mean, yeah, it's just sometimes some of the things he said, like since he's been with the Saints and all that and everything, I I never, really much cared for him. I mean, the way Dable goes about it, now, right? I mean, if you want to, the way Dable goes about losing games, right? Yeah. But I mean, the one thing I like about with Dable, right? He always has high praise for the other team, whoever they're playing. So and so, we're going up against a very good team. They're well coached. They got a lot of good players. That they're whatever the wide receivers. I mean, they'll say this against the Eagles. Nick Sirianni. Now, I don't like Nick Sirianni, either. But Dable's not going to talk bad about Sirianni. I mean, anybody coach like Sirianni. Okay. Because a couple years ago, I guess it was against the Giants. I think it was. He looked into the camera, and after they I guess they scored a touchdown or something like that, and Sirianni was getting like all cocky and stuff, looking into the camera and going, like, could you just imagine like Belichick or Vince Lombardi, somebody like doing that, looking into the, I mean, dude, But I mean, one nice thing about like with Dable is he doesn't badmouth anybody on camera or comments or nothing like that. Doesn't mean he's maybe not thinking stuff, but as far as whatever's coming out of his mouth, he always talks kindly about the other players and the other coaches and the other teams and other organizations. And some of his coaches is just like with Payton. He said he's over his he's been around for a while, obviously, but I mean, he has said some things, that I just never really much cared for, over his time. And apparently he was trying to ruffle. And then of course, now he after he said what he did about Russell Wilson, and then he went back and he tried to, I wasn't trying to cause any, I wasn't trying to cause any problems, dude. Get the out of here, dude. I really, I don't. So so it's like you go after somebody like Russell Wilson, man, and I'm not, it's just why. Is that what you got to do with your life? Is it make you feel like a man or something? I mean, be interesting if Payton would have said something after, because I mean, after they win, he's all happy and stuff like that. It would be interesting what he would have said if the Giants actually went in there and beat the Broncos, right? But Russell Wilson labels former coach Sean Payton classless after post-game comments. Giants quarterback Russell Wilson called his former head coach Sean Payton classless. Yeah. Following comments he made after the Denver Broncos victory over the Giants. Classless, but not surprised. Yeah, I'm not surprised either. Didn't realize you're still bounty hunting 15 plus years later through the media. Yeah, because remember he was the bounty thing when was it the defensive coordinator Williams was putting like bounties out on other players, like they would get like money if they knock somebody out of a game or something like that. Of course, Payton was the coach of that team. Wilson wrote on Twitter, followed by some laughing emojis and the hashtag Let's Ride, a catchphrase he became known for during his time with the Broncos between 2022 and 2023. New York's backup quarterback was perceived to be responding to comments made by Denver head coach Sean Payton, after the Broncos win. They found a little spark with that quarterback, said Payton, referring to rookie passer Jackson Dart, who replaced Wilson. I was talking to John Mara not too long ago, and I said we were hoping that change would have happened long after our game, Payton added. Wilson responded by referring to the Bountygate scandal, which involved Payton's New Orleans Saints using a bounty system between 2009 and 2011 seasons, where players were paid bonuses for, among other things, hard hits and deliberately injuring other players. That just goes to show you what classless piece of terror that Payton is. In 2012, Payton was suspended for 1 year without pay after the NFL found that he was aware of the bounty system and, though not directly involved with it, had done nothing to shut it down, because he's a worthless piece of human trash. And so is their defensive coordinator, too. at the time. The squabbling between Wilson and Payton reflects a lingering tension between the two, which was born from their time at the Mile High City when they worked together. Broncos win an underwhelming 11-19, and Wilson starts over 2 seasons, failing to make the playoffs in either one of them. Despite throwing for over 3,000 yards, 26 touchdowns during the 2023 season, Wilson was benched after the first 15 games and eventually released in the offseason. Threw for over 3,000 yards and 26 touchdowns in 2023. That's not too bad, right? But with the Broncos taking on a reported $85 million in dead cap. Wow. Whew. That's another one of the problems is because, a lot of times when you got new coaches coming in, right, they may not want the quarterback who's there, and one of the problems is that hopefully, because you look at, because we got Dart now, and you look, we got Dable, right? Dable and Shane brought Dart in, right? Looks like Jackson, hopefully will be the quarterback of the future, right? Hopefully. Yeah. But if you were to let Dable go, you bring in a new, I don't know, if they're going to bring in a new GM, a new coach, right? They have to, and it's like, by the way, this is your quarterback. And it's the same thing when Dable came in here. I don't know, right? Really didn't want, I'm sure, Daniel Jones. I'm not sure why he couldn't make Daniel Jones work, why he couldn't make him work, but he's like the best quarterback in the NFL with the Colts. I'm not so sure what's going on, but, right? But that's the problem. You bring in a new coach, maybe a GM, and it's like, oh, by the way, this is your quarterback. Then one of the problems is that if you falter, the coach comes in and he has a quarterback and he falters like Glenn, or whatever. They come in, they have a quarterback there, and that's not their quarterback, and they're falter. So like a season goes by, right? So now one season's gone by, they don't have their quarterback. So then they go out and they bring in a quarterback. So then you got to give them another 1 or 2 seasons, So it's a very tricky situation. Obviously, I guess the most ideal thing would be to bring in the GM, the coach, and the quarterback all at the same time. So. The decision came amid an injury guarantee. This is to bench Wilson in the 35-year-old's contract that assured him $37 million if he could not pass a physical on the 5th day of the new league year in March 2024. By benching Wilson, Denver made sure that he couldn't get injured and was consequently able to save money on his release. Speaking to reporters at the time, Wilson said he was approached by the team after the Broncos' Week 8 victory over the Chiefs and told if he didn't move back his injury guarantee and his contract that he'd be benched. We beat the Chiefs. They came up to me at the beginning of the bye week, Monday or Tuesday, and told me that if I didn't change my contract, my injury guarantee, that I'd be benched for the rest of the year. I was definitely disappointed about it, said Wilson. I wasn't going to take away injury guarantees, he said. This game is such a physical game. I played for 12 years, and that matters to me. And, when you obviously, ain't nobody going to know, better than him as far as, the contact you take is the amount of time, right? He's been a quarterback for, and, that's something you earn, right? It's like those contracts, right? You come in, especially the quarterbacks. Jackson Dart's learning that right now. How was he making, like $6 million a year or something like that? Right. Well, the Giants are benefiting from that, right? And Jackson Dart is the starting quarterback, doing very well. Okay, performing very, very well. Okay, some quarterbacks out there making $50-60 million a season. Jackson Dart, starting quarterback, is making $6 or Well, let's see. What is he making here? All right, let's see here. New York Giants salary. Get. Bam! Let's go to spot track. Scroll down to the bottom here. All right, where are we at? Oop. Let's see. He's making $3 million. Well, let's see. Oh, let me see here. Click on this here. Well, 4-year, 16.7, about a $17 million contract. So he's making a little over $4 million. Oh, okay. Guaranteed an average annual salary of $4.244 million. So he's making $4.244 million as a starting quarterback. I mean, we're paying him $17 million for 4 years. Right? They'll pick up his 50-year option. Let's hope. Right? Hopefully everything goes accordingly. Right? And even whatever this 50-year option is, I mean, they're going to pay him $60 million, whatever, for 5 years, maybe somewhere around $50-60 million, whatever, for like 5 years after they pick up his 50-year option. So 5 years, they're paying him like $10 million, $12 million a season for the first 5 years, which is, I mean, to me, that's a lot of money. You could pay me $60 million over 5 years. I'm doing backflips. I'm doing, whew, right? But in a quarterback, that's just chump change. You know what I mean? Right? But I mean, right now he's making $4.244 million a season as a starting quarterback. So you earn those contracts, right? I mean, same thing with Russell Wilson. He earned, those the injury guarantees or whatever like that. He earned that. But it is what it is. It was the same thing like with what the Giants did with Daniel Jones, right? They just wanted to make sure that, with his injury guarantee in there, right? And I am, you don't blame either side, right? But I said, you don't blame the Giants. You don't blame, really can't blame the Broncos for trying to just save some money, especially if they're releasing the guy. Right, but with the injury guarantee, I mean, let's make sure the guy's not injured, right? And we don't have to fork up a bunch of extra money, right? So you can't blame him. But I said I just never liked Sean Payton. I mean, never took. Oh, somebody! Oh, dude, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, I was talking about, it's like. The last video, last time I was live 2 nights ago, the Giants defense was out there for 35 snaps, 5 drives, 35 snaps in the fourth quarter. Now, if you average that out, right, that's 35. I mean, that's half a game's worth of snaps, and they did it in 1 quarter, right? Because you figure on an average, each team around 60, 70. I mean, if some teams are really doing good, they might get 80 snaps or something like that in the game. Maybe 90 might be, So the Giants did 35 snaps on defense in 1 quarter. And, of course, it was the last quarter when they were tired, right? So they were just freaking gassed. And not to mention that, I mean, so we got I'm going to talk about, the guys we had out there. I mean, because Holland wasn't in there, Debo wasn't in there. We had Banks out there. We had Art Green out there. I mean, Nick Jones was out. So we had a bunch of guys all banged up. They were really tired, and it's well, yeah, I know, man. It's just unbelievable, unbelievable. I mean, there's a lot to be proud of and be happy of and everything, but I just wish. I don't know. The first 3 quarters were like, oh my God, we're pretty good. It's just that one quarter. I don't know. It's just that the first 3 quarters we really look good. And if we actually had a kicker, right, we scored 5 touchdowns. We could have put up 35 points on the road, okay, against maybe the best defense in football, or certainly top 5 defense. They had 30 sacks, right? 35 points on the road, and just think of this, right? We don't have a number 1 wide receiver. We don't have a number 2 wide receiver. Right, our outside receiver. We have Wando Robinson, but Slayton, right, and Malik Neighbors don't have him, right. Somehow we still managed to score 5 touchdowns. Pretty good. So I mean, there's a lot to be happy about, right? It's just that the thing I don't like is that it's like to me, good coaching. I mean, Dable's been around a while. Okay. He's been around a while. Let's go. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure. I can miss an extra point. Hey. Yeah. But to me, I mean, good coach. As I said, Dable's been around a while. It's not like he's 20 years old and he just popped up off the couch and he became the coach of the Giants and he has no previous. He's been around a long time. Good coaching, finds ways to, to stem the tide or whatever. It's like we're always finding different ways to lose football games. And, as I said, good coaches can figure out ways to, as I said, overcome, at least sometimes. It's just like we're like clueless. When things really start going bad, the guy has no clue what to do. It's just, it's like everything has to be perfect in order for us to win. It's like if something starts going bad, it's like we're screwed, and good coaches can combat that, but Dable seems like he can't. Yeah. But one thing, the Giants are in now. I did see Tyler Lockett, right? I think he was let go. I believe he was asked to be. I think he was let go. So there are some receivers out there, but the Giants brought in Ray McCloud, added him to the practice squad. Right. So I mean, now the Giant, looks like Slayton might wind up playing this weekend. So that would be a plus. Okay, that would be a plus because the Giants might need to score some points this week. Right, definitely might need to score some points this week. As we are going to go over the injury report a little bit here too, but then I'm going to also go over like our secondary and our secondary, boy, I'll tell you, might get put to the test. But the Giants signed wide receiver Ray McCloud to the practice squad. In a move that reunites past connections with present needs, the Giants are signing veteran wide receiver Ray Mcleod to their practice squad, providing a much-needed infusion of depth at the position decimated by injury. Ray was released by the Falcons. It says a couple days ago. So, Giants receiving corps has been alarmingly thin this season, exacerbated by the devastating loss of Malik Neighbors, the former LSU star who dazzled with his speed and route running in training camp, suffered a torn ACL in week 4, landing him on the injury reserve for the remainder of the year. With Darius Slayton and Wando Robinson, the clear 1-2 punch, and unproven options like Jalen Hill and Bo Collins filling the gaps, and little Jordan Humphrey, head coach Brian Daboll has leaned heavily on tight ends for the production. Now, a lot of times having, Bellinger and Theo Johnson out there at the same time. And I'll tell you what, the tight ends have been stepping it up. They haven't now. To be fair, also was something we're going to have to certainly keep an eye on. Okay, is the Eagles are very good at eliminating the tight ends. Right. If you look back when we played the Eagles a couple weeks ago, the tight ends, it was almost kind of like, were they on the field? So that's, I mean, the couple of the games, right? Like this one here, they showed up, right? A couple of the games, the tight ends have been not too bad. When we play the Eagles, they do a very good job of covering the tight ends. So I'm not sure if it's their, defensive scheme, or if it's the phenomenal, they got some good players on defense, but they do a very good job of eliminating the tight ends. So the Giants wide receivers might really need to step it up this week, right? And we might hopefully get the running game going too. That would be huge. McLeod's arrival potentially addresses that void with the lack of wide receivers, offering a reliable slot option with return prowess. McLeod's ties to the Giants' brain trust runs deep, drafted in the 6th round by the Bills in 2018. He overlapped with current general manager Joe Shane and Dable during their Bills tenure, where they built a dynamic offense. The 29-year-old journeyman has since bounced between the Bills, the Panthers, the Steelers, the 49ers, and the Falcons, amassing 158 receptions, 1,518 yards, and 2 touchdowns over 98 games. In addition to his offensive value, McLeod is a versatile threat capable of running the ball and serving as a return man. He has returned 140 punts for 1,326 yards and 126 kickoffs for 2,890 yards. So he's a good return man. I mean, he averages well over 9 yards a punt return, like about 9.5 yards a punt return. That's pretty impressive. So, as the Giants are eyeing a turnaround before facing the Eagles on Sunday, this low-risk addition signals savvy roster management. If McLeod impresses in practice, a promotion to the 53-man roster isn't out of the question, giving Dable a trusted weapon to the scheme around. So we will have to wait and see here. Let's see what we got here. Giants have reportedly added wide receiver. It just isn't the move for a frontline difference-making receiver that fans have been hoping for. Yeah, we're hoping for like Jalen Waddle, right? Somebody like that, Chris Olave, right? But Giants are signing veteran wide receiver Ray McLeod after he was released by Tuesday by the Falcons. This season, McLeod played in 4 games with 6 receptions. Gianna Kelly, Falcons beat writer for SB Nation's The Falcoholic, thinks this move could pay dividends for the Giants. I think McLeod's performance last season is much more indicative of what he can contribute to the Giants than his 64 yards on 6 catches in 2025. Kelly said last year he had 62 catches, 686 yards and a touchdown, and was super reliable over the middle of the field, regardless of whether Kirk Cousins or Michael Penix Jr. was throwing him the ball. He's a viable punt and kick returner too, so he brings some versatility to the table. Now, there has been times where Wando Robinson could line up in the backfield. Sometimes he goes out wide. So, there's always a possibility there. Right? You put Wandell out wide, maybe you might have Mr. McLeod in the slot. But we'll have to see what goes on. The Falcons sent McLeod home last week due to what the team referred to as a private matter. Interesting. That the team denied had to do with the firing of former Falcons wide receiver coach Ike Hilliard. Well, remember Mr. Ike Hilliard was 1997, I think, first-round draft pick. He had a nice career for himself. McLeod had previously been a healthy scratch for Atlanta's Week 6 game against the Bills. Here is an explanation from a post by Kelly regarding what had been happening between McLeod and the Falcons. Whatever is keeping Ray McLeod away from the team, it's an excused absence and a personal matter. Raheem Morris said it isn't related to the firing of Ike Hilliard and McLeod's close relationship with the former wide receivers coach who was fired after the shutout loss to the Carolina Panthers. I sent him home. He's going through some things right now that are private with my young man, and we'll figure those things out as we go, Morris said. Morris also said that he wouldn't call it a disciplinary thing. So, with Malik Neighbors sidelined for the remainder of the season and Darius Slayton missing the last 2 games with a hamstring injury, Wando Robinson has been the Giants' only dependable wide receiver. Once he is up to speed, perhaps McLeod would be an upgrade from Bo Collins or Jalen Hyatt. Well, we'll have to wait and see. Because, once again, Broncos have a very good defense, right? But Wando Robinson was the only wide receiver to catch a pass. Not to say that guys weren't open, right? There's one in particular where Hyatt was kind of like, I'm not sure what route it was, but he was, he wound up going up the kind of like up the seam, up the middle, and he was just blown by guys. He had a step or so. Yeah, there was some separation there. I mean, it was a long throw. He got overthrown by about a yard, which I couldn't even throw the ball that far, period. But he was open, right? And Dart just overthrown. It's a missed opportunity. Now, once again, when you got those openings, you got to take advantage of them. Unfortunately, Dart just missed him by about a yard. But, Hyatt was open, right? But, like I said, the Broncos, very good defense, right? But we only, Wando was the only wide receiver to catch a pass, right? So, we need other guys to step up, especially, against the Eagles. Now, there's a good chance, once we start looking at the injury report here and who's in our secondary, who might be in our secondary, the Giants definitely might need to score some points. That's for darn sure. Let's see. So now Ray McLeod, right? Now he's been around since 2018. He was with Buffalo, Carolina, Pittsburgh, San Francisco, and Atlanta. Now he's with the Giants. Last season, Last season he played for Atlanta. He played all 17 games. He started 13 games. He got targeted 87 times. He caught 62 passes, 686 yards, 11.1 yards per reception, and 1 touchdown. That was by far his best season. In 2021 with Pittsburgh, he caught 39 passes. Another year he caught 20. Another year he caught 14. He caught 12 with the 49ers in 2023. So this year he's caught 6. He's been targeted 14 times with 6 receptions. So, right. But also, the very important thing with him, obviously, is also his return, being able to return, the return man. So he does that very, very well. Let's see here. Now this season? Yeah, this season here. So he's played 139 snaps. He's played the first 4 weeks of the season for Atlanta. All right. And let's see here. That's on offense. Let's see now. Special teams. Where are we at here? Special teams. Okay, special teams. He's played 17 special team snaps so far this season for the Falcons. 13 were kick returns, and the other 4 were punt returns. So he's got like that gunner kind of thing going on there, right? Right, small, right? Who can maybe in the slot, all right, but he can also be a return man. So we'll have to wait and see. But he's going to need to get up to speed. I mean, especially he's not somebody, especially if Gunner is going to be on the 53, or you're going to dress Gunner, right? Ray's got to really get up to speed, because you're not going to have Gunner, who's a return man, and McLeod is a return man, and then just have Ray McLeod, have a couple special packages just for him. So, he's going to have to get up to speed. So, look for maybe take a week or 2 or whatever for maybe to get into, on the 53, if he is going to. We'll have to wait and see. But also, likewise, too, we'll have to wait and see how Slayton does, right? Because those hamstrings, they can feel, it feels okay. And then you go out there and you just take a couple steps or something, and a little something back there and forget about it, right? So we'll have to wait and see. But we are getting, I mean, when you got Ray McLeod, Gunnar Olszewski, Bo Collins, Will Jordan Humphrey out there, I mean, it's like, oh my God. Oh my God. And somehow with Jackson Dart, we're still scoring some points. So just imagine if we get Jackson, another wide receiver. Just imagine Malik Neighbors comes back, right? And we got another wide receiver out there. Just imagine. So, all right. Now, of course, this winds up, could cause another problem, right? It just the way things are going with the Giants, you can definitely say this. Hopefully not, but Jude McAtamney is just with him and Young Ho Koo, they had competitions, right? And McAtamney was winning those competitions, but that was in practice. There's no crowds, nothing like that. Apparently, just when Jude was on the field to kick there, he basically just crapped the bed. I guess it was just too big for him. So he missed 3 extra points in 2 weeks. And I saw another thing that it's just amazing just how bad things are, right? It was the last 16. So this, a lot of people have seen this stat, but it was 1,602. The last 1,602 times that a team had an 18-point or more lead with 6 minutes to go in the game, there was 1,602 and 0. Of course, the Giants snapped that streak, right? But with Jude McAtamney, okay, he's the first kicker. I don't know where to get these stats at. I mean, it just people really have nothing to do better than their time. I mean, they come up with these stats. But Jude McAtamney is the first kicker in 40 years. Okay. Now, I don't know if that's all. They only went back 40 years. I don't know. He's the first kicker in 40 years to miss 2 extra points in a game. Now, because you also got to remember, too, you get back, you start going back. There's like different eras. You got this era here, okay, where obviously the extra point, I like it. It's not automatic, right? It's moved back. But you had that period of time there where it was like, moved it to the 2-yard line or whatever, the 3, whatever it is. You snap the ball back. It's like 18, 19-yard kick. I mean, the guys, they're making almost every one. So it's almost automatic. But if you go back, when the guys were kicking the ball straight on and stuff like that, they were the extra points got missed quite a bit. But you got to go back, right? But anyway, he's the first kicker in 40 years to miss 2 extra points in a game. Neither of them were blocked, and the team lost by 1 point. Ain't that just a kick in the crotch? First kicker in 40 years to accomplish that feat. Now, a lot of times, it might be a bad snap or something like that, right? Or, like I said, snap it back and a guy gets his hand on it and deflects it a little bit or something. Nope. First kicker in 40 years misses 2 extra points in one game. Neither of them were tipped or blocked or nothing. And the team wound up losing by 1 point because of it. I mean, it just, we're 2-5, right? You can see how easily it could have been where we could have beaten the Broncos. We'd be 3-4. You can easily see where we could have, should have, would have, maybe possibly beat the Cowboys. Now we're 4-3, right? And you can look at it once again how we really could have beaten the Saints. I mean, 5 turnovers on 5 successive. And the one was at least a 10-point swing. Scatterboo fumbles the ball. He runs it back 86 yards for a touchdown. That was 10 points, at least a 10-point swing right there. That's if the Saints stopped us and we had to kick a field goal. 10 points. You flip-flop 10 points there. You take 7 points off the Falcons. Now they got 19 points. You give us 3. And so now it's 19-17. We might have scored a touchdown there. I mean, the Saints were not stopping us. We were stopping ourselves. I mean, it's just, you could really, really, look and see where we could, darn near be 5-2. I mean, it's just so frustrating, really, really frustrating. But the thing is now since we got rid of McAtamney, thank God, he's possibly ready to come back. Now the thing is they're not putting 2 kickers on the active roster. It's not happening. You got 53 guys in the active roster. You only dress like 46 or 47 for the game. They're not dressing 2 kickers. That's not happening. Well, let's dress 2 kickers in case something that's not happening, right? So if something that happened to Gano again, boy, I'll tell you what, man, Dable's going to get roasted for that one, big time. Now, I said the thing is with McAtamney and Young Ho Koo, they were having competitions, and somehow Koo couldn't beat him out. It wasn't like Koo was kicking everyone through the uprights and McAtamney was missing everyone in competition. And Dable's like, well, see, Koo kicked everyone right down the center. Didn't miss one. McAtamney didn't make one in practice. Matter of fact, everyone, he kicked 35 yards wide. Wow. Let's start Jude McAtamney. No, that's not happening. I mean, it's like they have a competition, and however it worked out, McAtamney was the one to beat Koo. I guess the moment being outside, it was just, I don't know, it was just too much for him. And he just started choking. One thing you do know, Graham Gano's not going to hopefully choke. Right? He's had a long career, right? So, can he stay healthy? Yeah. I mean, it's just, if he doesn't, I wouldn't be surprised. But Gano will practice this week and be activated to kick versus Philly if he looks healthy. So, if he can go, Dable said Gano is the kicker if he can go. There's no doubts about it. If he can't go, it looks like Young Ho Koo will be the starter. If he comes through the week of practice looking healthy, Graham Gano will return to his role as the place kicker for the Giants on Sunday against the Eagles. Giants opened the practice window for Gano, who has been on injury reserve with a groin injury the past 4 weeks, on Wednesday. Giants waived place kicker Jude McAtamney on Tuesday. McAtamney missed 3 extra points in the past 2 games. 2 of those on Sunday in their 1-point loss to the Broncos, which basically, one of the many things that caused the Giants to lose. Head coach Brian Dable said, this won't be a competition between Gano and Koo, a veteran place kicker who is on the Giants practice squad. If Graham is ready to go, Graham will be the kicker, Dable said. We'll go through the week here, and if he looks good, hopefully he'll be out there. He's done a good job for us. Couldn't do anything about the injury that he had. Gano suffered his groin injury just minutes before kickoff, the Giants' Week 3 game against the Chiefs. He kicked a short field goal late in the game, but he was unable to do anything else. He was placed on IR before the Week 4 game against the Chargers. This is the 3rd straight season during which Gano has missed significant time due to injury. In 2 straight seasons, Gano has suffered pre-game or in-game leg injuries that have left the Giants without a place kicker. Now, the Giants, if they let him go, they'll only have I think I looked, it was like $1.75 million in dead cap if they were to let him go. So I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it went either way. If they were to let him go after the season's over with, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he's still a very, very good, dependable kicker, but is that something the Giants won't have to worry about dealing with next season? Don't know. In 2023, he kicked in only 8 games to a knee injury that ended the season. In 2024, he suffered a groin injury on the opening kickoff of a Week 2 game against the Commanders and missed 7 games. If he's ready to play and he goes through practice and he feels good, then he'll be the kicker, Dable said. Let's see how it looks Friday after practice. Dable said he will see Gano kick on Wednesday for the first time since his injury. They The training staff think he's ready to go, Dable said. They feel comfortable about what he's been doing. If something happens with Gano during the week, Koo will likely be elevated from the practice squad to kick against Philadelphia. So, yeah, it's going to be one of those things. I mean, unfortunately, the Giants are just such a freaking laughing stock that you can really see something like that happening where Gano would go out there and just get injured again. We'd be left without another kicker, and we would lose another ball game because we didn't have a kicker. You can just almost see it. It's almost written in the stars, right? They haven't addressed that kick and said, yeah, I know. Nope. They just keep bringing them back. And at the Washington game, if we had a kicker, we could have won that one. I mean, there were other things. I mean, one of them was, there was the pass down at the end of the game. Malik Neighbors, I think it was 4th down maybe. Ball hits Malik Neighbors here as he's going out of bounds. He drops the ball. Maybe if we catch that ball, maybe we go for a touchdown. But no, you're right. I mean, we got to, we got to hopefully draft a kicker. Hopefully one that does good, and we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, no, you're right. And they just keep bringing Gano back. And I said it'd be very interesting to see after the season's over with, because I mean it's like 3 seasons in a row he's had an injury during the season. Is that something they want to keep going? Now, to be fair, also if Dable's not around after the season's over with, the new head coach might say, "All right, we'll see you." We will have to wait and see. But no, you're right. They haven't really. Nope. Oh, Gano's fine. He's okay. Yeah, he's our kicker. Okay. Oh, he's hurt. Okay, we'll put him on IR. We'll bring him back, and we'll wait for him to get hurt again. We'll put him on IR. We'll bring him. Yeah. Just. It's just amazing. I mean, like bad teams have things like this happen. Right. So the Giants got themselves a nice little laundry list here. Right, nice little laundry list of injuries. So do the Eagles. So do the Eagles. All right. The Giants, always seem to be decimated by injuries, right? I mean, a couple of. Let me go over here. Let me share here. Oh, share screen. I gotta find it here. Let's see here. Is this it? Maybe it's it right here. Okay, here we go. All right, so the Wednesday injury report, guys who did not practice. All right, Brian Burns. All right, you got a hip. Javon Holland has got a knee. Paulson Adebo with a knee, and Chauncey Golston with a neck. I mean, I mean, between Chauncey Golston, okay, and unfortunately, Demetrius Flanagan Fowles with a hamstring. I mean, these guys have hardly played at all. Yeah. So, but those 4 guys did not practice. Okay. Now I can certainly see where Burns is going to want to play, but I can certainly see where it's like, Burns, you just take as much time off as you want. Now, who knows with Holland and who knows with Adebo. But I mean, you spend $100 million on those 2 guys, and it's like I'm not seeing any dividends at all. Obviously, if they're banged up, it's kind of tough to play those positions. I get it when you're banged up, but I mean, I wasn't expecting like Deion Sanders and Ronnie Lott or nothing like that, but something. Guys who make step up every now and then, make a big play every now and then. Big plays make you want the big time bucks, right? You step up, make plays in the big time moments. Have you heard Adebo's name? Right. Oh, what an interception by Adebo! Oh, have you heard that? Oh. Man, Adebo's he's all over the field, man. Oh, I haven't heard that. Right? How about Holland, right? Then we got obviously the guys here, limited participation, right? Bellinger with a neck. Swazi Bozeman, an ankle. DJ Davidson with an ankle. Jermaine Illuminor with a knee. Tell you what, our two tackles have been doing very, very well. They did very well against the Broncos. Very, very well. So it'll be interesting to see, because with Illuminor, this is his last season with the Giants. His contract's up. Let's hope maybe we bring him back, because he's done pretty well. He's done pretty doggone well for the Giants. All right, then we got, as I said, Demetrius Flanagan Fowles. I mean, let me see here. I got to try to spell his name right here. Hold on, let me. Demetrius. There we go. Okay, cool. All right, here we go. All right, let's see here. He is, okay, let's see. 2025 preseason. He didn't play. Apparently, he didn't play in the preseason for the Giants. 2025 special teams. Hold on. Snaps by position. Nothing. Okay, 2025. All right, so let's go to regular season. I don't. Okay, so let's see. 2025 regular season. Okay, so let's go here. The defense. What's he played? He's played in one game. He played against the Chargers. He had 15 total snaps against the Chargers. That's all. The whole season. He played 7 games. He's played in 15 snaps. He was 3 pass rush snaps, and he fell in coverage 12 times. So we got the guy. He's played 15 snaps for us. Now let's see. Let me see. How about Chauncey Golston? Let's see here. Let's see if I can spell his name right here. Okay, here we go. Let's look. Mr. Golston here. Okay, regular season for the Giants. Okay, defense. He's played in 44 snaps. He played week 1 against the Commanders. He played 11 snaps. Week 2 against the Cowboys. He wanted to play that one, right? Being the former Cowboy he was. Playing 21 snaps. Then he was out weeks 3 and 4. Week 5 against the Saints, he played 3 snaps. And week 6 against the Eagles, he played 9 snaps. So we brought Chauncey Golston in, paid him some money, right? Supposed to be pretty doggone good. He has what? He has 1 pressure on the season. He's played in 44 snaps for the Giants. 44. So between let me get where we at here. Flanagan Fowles, okay, and Chauncey Golston, they played a grand total about 60 snaps so far this year for the Giants. So these guys are limited, okay. Now, limited participation, okay, one thing, it's a little, whatever you want to call it, maybe possibly a little misleading, because limited, there could be 20 snaps on defense, and they're on a defense, right? So say there was 20, say they only participated in 16 of those snaps. Well, that was limited participation. For whatever reason, they didn't play in 4 to, you know what I mean? So limited doesn't necessarily mean, well, they only played 1 snap, or, it doesn't necessarily mean that. So sometimes these limited participations are a little misleading, right? But at least they all participate in some shape or form. So Bellinger, Bozeman, DJ Davidson, Illuminor, Flanagan, Fowles, Schmitz, and Slayton. All right, all limited. Now, full participation, Jackson Dart with his ankle, and kicker Graham Gannell with his groin. All right, so let's hope. All right. But so the Eagles, they had some guys as well, too. Okay. Did not practice. A.J. Brown, the hamstring. That's good. That's really, I don't want nobody. I can't stand the Eagles. I can't, but I don't want anybody injured. I want our best beating your best. I don't want us beating you because your team was totally decimated by injuries or vice versa or whatever, right? But injuries happen, right? But this with the A.J. Brown, his hamstring, that could help. And I'm going to show you in a little bit why that could be a huge help. Okay. Then you got Dory Jackson with a concussion. So if he's in concussion protocol, he may not play. Right. Not that that's a huge loss for the Eagles, but, he's a competent cornerback. I mean, he's not like what he was, right? But Cam Jurgens with a knee. Imagine this, Azeez Ojulari, right, being injured. He has a hamstring. Yeah, I mean, they pick up Azeez and say, "Oh man, we got a deal here." Well, yeah, until he starts getting injured, right? If he never got injured, he'd probably still be a Giant. But then Jeremiah Trotter Jr. with an ankle. So they had what, 5 guys there who did not practice. Now limited participation. Bennett, the cornerback, with a pectoral. Calcaterra with an oblique. Landon Dickerson with an ankle and a back. Now he better, if he's going up against Sexy Dexy, he better get good in a hurry. Right? Dallas Goedert with a calf, and Ohomo, Moro. So every other letter he has what? 1, 2, 3. He has 9 letters in his name. 5 of them are zero or O's. Every other letter's an O. Moroojmo. No, and he has a shoulder. And full participation is Brandon Graham, not injury related. So, but let's not forget also. Okay, so the Eagles, they have, right? They got some guys who are a little nicked up. Let's not forget, one of the big things is that Carter will be back for them. Okay, so the guy's a difference maker in the middle of there. So the Giants did a very good job, okay, running the ball successfully against the Eagles, especially I think it was the last 6 minutes and 50 seconds, I think it was, of the game when we played against the Eagles. I mean that nothing will bring a tear to your eyes faster than just, you got the ball for 6 minutes and 50 seconds against a hated rival, whether it's the Cowboys, the Eagles, a hated rival, and you just hand the ball off and they just run the clock out. And that's old school football there, baby. Just run the clock out on them. Oh, man. And it just got to the point where you could just really see the Eagles were just like, they're down by 3 scores, right? I mean, the game's over for the most part, and it just, they just see that they just, Scatterboo's getting like 10, 12 yards a run, and you could just see the Eagles who you just took the life right out of them, and boy, that does your heart some good. It really, really does. But so the Giants got some guys all banged up. So did the Eagles, right? The Eagles, last season, one of the, good for them. You got to be good, but you got to be lucky too, right? And last season, the Eagles were very good, very good, without question. The roster, right? But they were very lucky because they were one of the least injured teams in all of football, right? And they took advantage of it. If you got a good roster, and like the Eagles did last season, and you're in, injuries are at a minimum, you really need to take advantage of that. It's just so amazing how sometimes some teams, like the 49ers, once again this season, you look at the roster, the guys have been injured, missed time. It's like, how did they win any games at all? It's every year they're totally decimated by injuries. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Unfortunately, if you start looking at the schedule coming up, it's like, a lot of those guys might be back in time to play the Giants. We're looking, we got to, whatever, in the beginning of the season, we got to play the Bears. Oh, cool. The Bears are one of the hotter teams in the NFL, right? And you just look at the teams the Giants are playing. It's like, it's like every team we playing has a winning record. It's unbelievable. It really, really is. Really, really is. But it's the condition that the Giants are in. They're going to be a very big for this game coming up against the Eagles. Very, very big game against the Eagles. Oh. We just did that. But so now to add a little bit of depth, okay, it's like the the Giants cut Corey Black, and while he was out there, right, he didn't. They just picked him up. He was on the practice squad. Now the Giants returned serve and brought Corey Black back, right? Because we definitely need some depth. That's for darn sure. We're just banged up in the secondary, and our wide receiver, a couple, between Slayton and Malik Neighbors, we got some injuries there, but so is our secondary. So we brought our 7th round pick back. Okay, so, but I'm sure he's happy to be back because now he's on the roster, right? And there's another thing it says in this article here, it says that it's never if somebody decides, right, to sign with another team, even on their practice squad or whatever, you don't make nasty comments or anything. Oh, okay. I mean, it is what it is, because you never know. You never know, right? That's like when you're playing for somebody, right? You're playing for a team. And you might have you're working with an assistant coach or assistant coaches or something, right? You never want to do something bad, get some bad blood going, because you never know, right? You see, somewhere along the line, your career might, whatever, start wandering off, right? And you're still playing. Well, one of those assistant coaches that you maybe had a problem with, somewhere along the line, right, becomes like a head coach, right? And then maybe they might, if you cause bad problems, maybe they may not want to have you on their roster, right? So you never know, right? You never want to burn any bridges or nothing like that. So, Corey Black went for the Jets. Okay, well, now they want to bring him back. So, but he hasn't really played a whole heck of a lot, right? All right. Giants injury scramble ends with an ironic rookie return nobody saw coming. Back in black, as they say. Much like last season, injuries are starting to pile up for the Giants. Shocking. The roster that opened the 2025 campaign already looks much different. Some injuries are manageable, but others pose much bigger problems. And that's exactly where Big Blue stands with the $54 million free agent cornerback Paulson Adebo and his knee injury. Unfrickin' believable. 26-year-old suffered a knee injury in the third quarter of their game against the Broncos. See, that was another one of the things still, right? In the third quarter. And right after that, we put Banks in there, and that's when they started going at Banks, and that's when they shortly after that, they wound up scoring their first touchdown. Because remember, it was 19-0 going into the last quarter, right? Paulson Adebo was out there. They didn't score any points, right? Adebo was listed as questionable to return, but he never made it back, leaving head coach Brian Daboll to lean on Deonte Banks, and that didn't go well. Ahead of their Week 8 clash with the Eagles, it looks like General Manager Joe Schoen is turning to a familiar face to help shoulder the workload. Per the Athletic's Dan Dugan, Big Blue is bringing back 2025 7th-round pick Corey Black, who scorned the Giants by signing with the Jets after being released during roster cuts. Here's an example of why you can't carry hard feelings in the NFL. It's the greatest team sport, period, to me, right? But it is a business. Don't take anything personal, okay? The Giants are signing cornerback Corey Black to their active roster off the Jets practice squad, per source. A 7th-round pick by the Giants this year, Black made the initial 53-man roster, but he was waived. Right. Welcome back to East Rutherford, Mr. Black. The rookie was drafted by the Giants with the 246th pick overall in the 2025 draft. After a roller coaster training camp, he made the initial 53-man roster, only to be cut the next day thanks to Shane's questionable roster gymnastics. Though it was to keep him on the team during the first wave of cuts. When released him the next day to add cornerback Rico Payton off the Saints IR list, and re-signed Black to the practice squad, but the Jets sniffed out the magic trick and swooped in to steal the seventh rounder right from underneath them, signing him to their own practice squad. Yeah. I don't know why, they had for some reason, they had their reasons why they wanted Rico Payton on the roster, right? And they were willing to let Corey Black go. But I guess they thought somebody wasn't going to swoop in and pick him up. But it was a bizarre sequence. And when asked why he left Big Blue for Gangrene, he told the New York Post it was just business. To be honest, you never really know. Anything could happen. I could have stayed there and something could have happened. I could have came here and something happened. So you really never know. And sure enough, something happened. Use whatever bridge cliche you want. Water under it, none burned, but the relationship wasn't strained enough to stop a reunion. It was a funny full circle moment for the former Oklahoma State star, and it might come with a bigger role than expected. So once again, he went to the Jets. It's all water under the bridge. He went to the Jets. You don't want to burn any bridges by just start saying all nasty things and everything like that, right? Because you never know. With Adebo likely out and Banks struggling to cover much of anything, Giants fans might see another rookie make his debut in blue and white on Sunday. And it could wind up being one of the more interesting comeback stories of the season. Now, let's see here. Black was drafted by the Giants, right? He made the initial 53, but he was waived on August 27, 2025. On 2 days later, on August 29, 2025, Black was signed to the Jets practice squad. And then the Giants on October 21st, 2025, Black was signed by the Giants off the Jets practice squad. Now, once again, he has to be on, if you're signing somebody off the practice squad, it can't be, oh, we're going to take him from their practice squad and put him on our practice squad. No. That's not the way it works. You take him off somebody's practice squad, he's got to be on your active roster. He's going to be on your 53. I think it's 3 weeks. I think. Doesn't mean he's going to dress, but he's going to be on the 53. So that's a little bump of pay. I forgot what it's like, $14,000 or $15,000 a week. Oh, what a bummer, right? If he's on the practice squad, okay. But he's getting a bump in pay, at least these 3 paychecks, right? To be on it. So if he's making, I don't know. Well, let's see. If he's making, say, $800,000, right? 1734. Hold on, let's make this easy here. 1734. Say he's making $850,000 a year for a 7th round pick. That's possible. I can look, but just make it easy. I'll show you in a second here. So let's see here. 850,000. Whew. 850. Okay. Divided by 17, or is it 18 paychecks? I'll just go 17 game paychecks. It's $50,000 a game. Okay. So he's getting the practice squad, I think, especially if you're just a rookie. If you're a veteran who's had so many years of experience and you're on a practice squad, you get a little bit of a bump in pay. But somebody like a rookie or whatever who's on a practice squad is making only like $15,000 a week. Yeah. Darn, only $15,000 a week. Jeez. But, you see here, right? Can you see? There you go. Right? If he's making $850,000, as I said, to be fair, I don't know if it's 18 paychecks he gets because there's a bye week, or if he gets it might be 18. But just to make things easy, right? He's getting $850,000 a year, right? For 17 game checks. He's making $50,000 a week, just to make it simple, right? So if he was on the practice squad, he's only making about roughly around $15,000, I think. So, he's making an extra $35,000 each week. Now he's got to be on our roster, okay? Or he's got to be on. He's got to he's making an extra 35. So he's making an extra $105,000 over 3 weeks. So if he makes it, if he winds up, if he gets dressed, okay, we'll have to wait and see. I have to be interesting because maybe if a Debo doesn't go, maybe they have to bring Corey Black on. We'll have to wait and see. The one nice thing, though, okay, is it's not. Oh yeah, okay. He's not trying to learn a whole total new defense. Okay, he was with the Giants all spring, all summer, training camp, and all that and everything. So he is familiar, okay, with the with Bones' system. Okay, so that's a plus. So he could get elevated, and he could get a uniform, but we'll have to wait and see. A lot of it, once again, I think depends upon a Debo, right? But the one thing, I mean, it's going to be very, very interesting this week coming up again, especially in the secondary. All right. Can the killer bees, I'll go over that in just a second, contain the Eagles wide receivers? Now, if A.J. Brown's got a little hamstring issue there, so that could be quite helpful for the Giants. But, let's not, don't forget about Devontae Smith, and let's not forget about Dallas Goedert, right? Because one thing that winds up happening seems like game in, game out, week in, week out, or whatever, year after year, whatever, Giants seem to have hard time covering good tight ends, right? We've always had a hard time. It's like somehow it's like, when we like the Cowboys with Jason Witten, maybe the slowest guy in the field, right? He's not a phenomenal. He can't jump. He doesn't have a 50-inch vertical leap. He's not 13 foot tall. He's not. He's not the fast. But after we get done playing the Cowboys, like, wow, Jason Witten had 12 catches. Yeah, I mean. Nobody can cover the guy. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, have a hard time covering tight end. So they got Dallas Goedert and then Devontae Smith. And, there was a couple plays with the Eagles when they played the Vikings that, really helped them. I think Devontae Smith, was a 79-yard touchdown reception he had, right? And then, of course, they picked Carson Wentz off and ran one of those back for a touchdown. That helped the Eagles win. Right. It's always something like that helps the, they blocked the punt, I think it was, or something against the Buccaneers. They blocked the field goal against the Rams, ran that back for a touchdown. They picked the pass off against Carson Wentz, ran that back for a touchdown. So this is going to be a huge, huge game here for the Giants. Especially for Dart and all the guys handling the ball and everything, because let's not forget, right, that one turnover, quite possibly, amongst many things, quite possibly, it was 26-16. Throw that, somebody was around his feet, he throws the ball, the guy was open, he didn't throw far enough over the linebacker, picks it off, runs it back, 4 plays later, right, 26-23. It's like, if we were punted the ball and made them drive all the way the length of the field and taken a couple minutes off the clock, we might have came out of there with a W. But turnovers are going to be huge in this game here, right? So, and the Eagles do a very good job, right, of taking care of the ball. Let me show you here. Let me show you the killer bees that we could be have to deal with here, okay? And I'm talking about the defensive side of the ball, all right? And I'm talking about the secondary. Now, the first killer bees, okay, and I'm not even talking about Brian Burns either, right? But the first killer bees, if you're an old fart like me, that goes back in time. The first killer bees was the Miami Dolphins. It was about 40 years ago. It was in the early 80s. I believe it was their one, might have been, well, they went to the Super Bowl twice back then. They lost to the Washington Redskins. Sorry if I offend anybody by saying Washington Redskins. Sorry if I offend anybody. And then, of course, then the one that they lost to the 49ers. One of those might have been Bo. I don't know. They had like 5 guys on the defense, like Baumhauer, and like so many guys on the defense. Their actual last name started with a B, right? Well, if we look here, okay, a lot of Giant players, their last name ends with a B. And I said, I'm not even talking about Brian Burns. I am talking about the guys in the secondary now. We might have to start, relying a little bit on some of these killer bees. Okay. Can we these guys step up, all right, and control or manage the Eagles' passing attack? Because Jalen Hurts is, I'm not a big Jalen Hurts fan, okay, but he's done a very good job so far this season, right? He's not setting the world on fire with all these phenomenal numbers and everything, but he does a very good job of protecting the ball. Now, thankfully, the one interception he threw to Cordell Flott picked off him, but that was huge for us. But other than that, he's done a very good job this year as far as protecting the ball, right? He's a veteran quarterback. I mean, he's going to Super Bowls. There's nothing, there's nothing too big for the guy, right? But, look who we might have in the secondary here, okay? The killer bees, right? So, right. And I'm not even talking about Holland may not be there, right? Debo may not be there. Who knows? Right? We got Phillips, we got Flott, Newman, but these guys back here, right? Corey Black. Now he's on the roster, okay, and he's got we're not sure if he's going to dress or not. We'll have to wait and see. Depending upon maybe with Debo and Holland. Will they be able to go? We don't know, right? But once again, right? Deonte Banks, right? Even if Debo does go, is he going to be able to play full strength? You got a knee problem. You put Banks in there, man, that could be a huge liability, right? Then you got Bo Braid, right? Right. Then you got Dane Belton. Right, so we got 4 killer bees here, right? And you got Art Green and Nick Jones. Look at the guys, right? Black, Banks, Braid, Belton. Belton hasn't done too bad though. Hasn't done too bad, right? He's the one that caused the fumble against the Eagles, punched the ball out, did a very good job, right? But Jones, Green, Belton, Banks, Braid, and Corey Black. So. Right. I said if Debo and Holland can't go, you probably have Belton take Holland's spot, and then you'll have Banks, okay, step in for Debo. And if that's one of being the case, they're just going to start picking on Banks. Now let's hope, okay, that the defense doesn't get as tired out as they did against the Broncos, right? Because they were totally gassed in that fourth quarter there. That was one of the things I think that Phillips gave up that long pass to Mims. He was just like kind of jogging along with them. And just, they say, being tired or gassed or whatever, makes cowards of us all. Right. And he just might have been just totally spent. And he's just like running. He's just going through the motions. Right. So hopefully we won't get as gassed as we did versus the Eagles as we did against the Broncos, because that fourth quarter was just unbelievable. But, can Belton step in there for Holland? If a Debo can't go, can Banks, right? So then we got Braid. And I said, then we got Corey Black, right? So, I think, I can't remember. I think it was, Braid he played last week, all right? I think he played it was his first snap of the season. Let me see here. Where are we at here? Let me look here. This once again was, there we go. Okay. Yeah. Yep. He played one snap last week against Denver. One snap, free safety. Right. And then that's the whole season. We played one snap. Then we'll go Nick. Let me see. Nick Jones. How many snaps he played there? He played one snap. He's played 2 snaps all season long, Nick Jones on defense, right? So you look and see, I mean, then you get, as I said, you had Banks in there. We don't want Banks in there, right? Then you wind up with Nick Jones in there, who played 1 snap. He's played 2 snaps all season. This is what we got in there to try to stem the tide against the Broncos. Now, the one nice thing is we put Nick Jones in there or Braid in there. They're not gassed, okay? But, they're backups for a reason. Unfortunately, you start looking at some of this stuff. I mean, Dane Belton, I think, to me, is a very solid backup. I hope we resign him after this season. He's going to be him, McFadden, right, Flott, right? Maybe DJ Davidson. We'll have to wait and see. But, we got some guys on the defense that, the contracts are due up. I hope Flott, I hope Belton, especially McFadden. He might come back. Hopefully he'll be back maybe soon if we're lucky, maybe within a month or so. We're lucky. We'll have to wait and see. But I said, Belton's not a bad backup. But I said, Braid, that was his first snap. They put him out there, first snap all season. Go play free safety, right? And then same thing with Nick Jones, right? And I think, if I'm not mistaken, let me see here. Got to look here, okay? Let me see here. All right, Art Green. Let's see. Did he play? No, he hasn't even played yet in the regular season for the Giants. Let's see. Last year he played 47 snaps, so he hasn't even played, right? So we got a lot of guys. Like Corey Black hasn't played. Nick Jones has played 2 snaps. Bo Braid has played 1 snap. Art Green hasn't played at all. So we got a lot of inexperience back here. A lot of inexperience, right? And you get a good, solid quarterback by Jalen Hurts. And if Brown is out there, right, and Devontae Smith's out there and Goddard's out there, we could get carved up like a Thanksgiving Day turkey. Now, one thing you do notice is that even after Adebo went out, they put Banks in there, okay? Banks wasn't worn out, but they started going at him. Maybe not every play or nothing like that, but they had no problems going after him, right? So you start, if Adebo can't go in there, this might be, right? They might be going right at that guy. So can the killer be? It's going to be huge. It could be really, really huge. It all depends upon how these guys can play, right? How these guys can play. Can these 5 guys start for us, right? That'd be huge. But if not, can these guys in the back here, especially these killer bees, Banks, Braid, Belton, and Black, right? Can they step up and make an impact? Only time will tell. But it could be huge. Could be huge for the Giants. And finally, I saw this. They got a little kick out of this one. Look, he's back on IR. Wow, good old buddy, Mr. Darren Waller. Huh? The Giants traded him to the Dolphins. They gave him, the Dolphins got him and a 7th round pick. And in return, the Giants got a 6th round pick. Now, the one nice thing about that, okay, is that the Dolphins really look bad. So that 6th round pick is going to be a really early 6th round pick. I'm not saying it's a 1st round pick and we're going to be drafting a Hall of Famer or anything like that. I'm certainly not saying that, But, as I said, the one nice thing is that you make a trade with a bad team, right? And you pick up even a 6th round pick or a 5th round pick or something like that. It's like, it's not going to be a late 5th round or a late, because like a late 6th round pick is almost a 7th round pick, But it's been early, really early 6th-round pick that the Giants picked up for Darren Waller. And now he's back on the practice squad. He's back on injured reserve. Not because of a hamstring. He's got a different issue. I'll read this in a second. But, I mean, he hasn't had he's caught, somehow he caught 4 touchdown passes. He's only caught 10 balls all season. He's only played in 4 games. Right? He missed the first couple of games. Then he started playing, and actually, I think he caught 4 touchdown passes in 3 weeks. But you can't complain about catching touchdown passes, but he's only caught 10 balls all season long. And now he's on injured reserve. So he's got to go out and be on there for at least 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, at the minimum, week 12. So, this one looks like this might be a winner for the Giants. We got rid of Waller. He didn't go and help the Dolphins make it to the Super Bowl. Right? They didn't win the division. They didn't have a winning record. They stink. With or without him, they stink. They're just straight trash. So it's not like we come a laughing stock because we traded Darren Waller away. Right? No, looks like we benefited from this. We don't want Waller. He didn't want to be here, and he's nothing but, once again, all he does is get injured, right? I think we traded away a 7th-round pick, and in return we got a very early 6th-round pick for him. So, okay, cool. You got him, Dolphins. He's all yours. Dolphins placed tight end Darren Waller on the injury reserve with a pectoral injury. Dolphins tight end Darren Waller was placed on injury reserve Wednesday after suffering a pectoral injury in last week's loss to the Browns. Waller was injured in the first half of Sunday's game and did not return. It was his 4th game of the season. So basically, he hasn't even played 3.5 full games. We're 7 games into the season, right? So 8, 9, 10, 11. So after 11 weeks, he's only going to play a grand total of 3.5 games at the most. After 11 weeks, he'll have at the most 10 receptions after 11 weeks. So Giants did themselves well in this trade. It was his 4th game of the season after missing the team's first 3 games. So he missed the team with a hip injury, and he picked up in training camp. So in training camp, picked up a hip injury, missed the first 3 games. Now he's going to miss another 4 games, at least another 4 games. It was soft tissue, Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel said Monday. It's a situation that probably would be living in hope to see him in the upcoming next week's game, but he'll be diligent. This means a lot to him. But that's kind of where I'm at with it right now with the information I have. Waller made a splash in his season debut in week 4 with 3 catches for 27 yards. Ooh, and 2 touchdowns. Ooh, 27 yards, big splash. Ooh. He followed up with the next week with 78 yards and a touchdown and 5 catches against the Panthers, all in the first half. He's recorded just 2 catches for 12 yards and a touchdown in 2 games since. Ooh. 2 catches for 12 yards in 2 games. Ooh, very impressive. Ooh. As the Dolphins' passing offense has sputtered during their 3-game losing streak, Waller will be eligible to return against the Saints in Week 12. Miami has a bye in Week 11. In a corresponding move, the Dolphins signed tight end Greg Dulcich, maybe you remember him, right, from their practice squad to their active roster. The Dolphins traded for Waller in July, and he came out of a year-long retirement to reunite with current offensive coordinator Frank Smith, who was Waller's position coach during his best seasons with the Raiders. Waller worked to the side for the first few weeks of training camp as he built himself back into football shape, but suffered a setback when he injured his hip in August. Let's see what anybody else there. Oh, there we go. Waller will miss at least the next 4 games for the Dolphins, who are 1-6. Also in the practice squad, Miami signed Greg Dulcich to their active roster of their practice squad. So basically, a couple of the tight ends that the Dolphins have, okay, came from the Giants, right, between Waller and Dulcich. Waller's 33, sustained his injury during Sunday's 31-6 loss at Cleveland and did not catch a pass, ending a streak of 3 games with at least 1 touchdown. After coming out of retirement, Waller caught 10 passes this season for 117 yards and 4 touchdowns in his first 3 games. Pro Bowl selection for the Raiders, Waller has 360 catches for 4,241 yards and 24 scores in 90 games with the Ravens, the Raiders, and the Giants, and the Dolphins. He did not play during the 2024 season. Dulcich, though, had 5 catches for 28 yards in 9 games last season, split between the Broncos and the Giants. The UCLA product has 41 receptions for 464 yards and 2 touchdowns in 21 career games with the Broncos and the Giants. So, yeah, it is what it is. Yeah. The only thing, that, to be fair with Waller, he did not ask to get traded to the Giants. He got traded here. Now, whether he wanted to come from one crappy team, meaning the Raiders, to another crappy team, meaning the Giants, I highly doubt it, right? But apparently, while he was here, he seemed to do all the right things, say all the right things and all that and everything. It was just a shame he wound up getting injured. But the thing that just bothered me a little bit was, how he seemed rather offended that the Giants made him do some blocking. Yeah. Not much of a team player there. Like they weren't using him, like he was in the backfield. And I guess he was used maybe as a lead blocker or a blocker. He was in the backfield. And I guess that kind of rubbed him the wrong way. So, but to me, it's a team sport. If you're a team player, you do what the team asks. You do it to your best of ability. If you don't like it, oh, well, it is what it is. I mean, sure, there's a lot of other players out there who play football who get asked to do things that they don't want to do, and they do them, and they don't run off to the sideline and piss their pants and change their diaper and complain and moan and groan about it, right? It is what it is. You're there to help the team out, help the team win. And, I guess Waller got really offended because the Giants asked him to block. So not much of a team player there, right? But, the Giants, traded away a 3rd-round pick for this guy. Only played 12 games or 11 games, whatever it was, spent a lot of time once again injured with his hamstring, right? Retired. He came out of retirement, went to the Dolphins. So the Giants, right? I think the Giants made out without question. I don't care what Waller does with the Dolphins. They stink. He missed 3 games already. He's going to miss at least another 4 games. So the Giants made out well. They got themselves because the Dolphins stink. They're going to get themselves a very early 6th-round pick in next year's draft, thanks to Darren Waller and the Miami Dolphins. So there you go. All right, guys, been 1 hour and 34 minutes. Vinny G-Man, good talking to you, brother. Good talking to you. So whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. If anybody's going to spend any time watching a replay of this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of it. It means the world to me. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants! Woo! Oh, yeah.